The Galactic Council's emergency session had been running for 6 standard days without break. Representatives from every known civilization crowded the expanded chamber, their various forms of panic creating a symphony of fear that echoed off the crystal walls. Outside the station, space itself was changing. Ambassador Zethkri watched the main display with a mixture of terror and awe. Where human fleets had passed, entire sectors were transforming. Dead systems burst into life, not just with planets and stars, but with impossible architectures of light and meaning. Nebulae had begun to sing in harmonies that translated perfectly into every language, while pulsars beat out rhythms that somehow spelled poetry across the cosmic background radiation. "The situation is beyond critical," announced High Counselor Merendai, her tentacles writhing with stress patterns that indicated near breakdown. Human influence has spread to over 3,000 star systems in the past month. Every world they touch becomes something else, something more. General Thexvar, his crystalline hide now showing stress fractures, brought up tactical displays showing the latest intelligence reports. "Our deep space monitors indicate they're not just changing existing systems. They're creating new ones. Entire galaxies are being born in the spaces between our star maps." The chamber fell silent as this impossible truth sank in. A species that could create galaxies wasn't just powerful, they were operating on a scale that made the concept of warfare meaningless. Dr. Yethnai of the Scientific Consortium spoke up, her voice trembling with barely controlled excitement. "We've been analyzing the energy signatures from transformed systems. They're not using any form of technology we understand. It's as if reality itself is eager to change for them, willing, joyful even." Zethkri pulled up her own data files, focusing on reports from the few observation posts that had survived contact with human expansion. The accounts were consistent and utterly bewildering. Instead of conquest or colonization, the humans seemed to be engaged in something like cosmic gardening, helping each world and species discover its most beautiful potential. "The Sekthari mining colony in the Vale Nebula sent this report," she said, activating a holographic display. "When humans arrived, they didn't demand surrender or evacuation. They asked the Sekthari what their world would look like if it could be anything they dreamed." The display showed before and after images that defied belief. The barren mining planet had transformed into a crystalline paradise where the Sekthari could literally sing new minerals into existence. Their industrial efficiency increased 1,000-fold, while their environment became a thing of impossible beauty. "The humans didn't impose their vision," Zethkri continued. "They helped the Sekthari discover that they had always been artists, not just miners. Now they create metals that exist in 12 dimensions, alloys that contain crystallized emotions, and power sources that run on the joy of creation itself." Similar reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The hive minds of Proxima Centauri had discovered they could dream collectively, creating shared realities where millions of individuals experienced perfect unity while maintaining their distinct personalities. The energy beings of the astral dominion found they could give themselves physical form without losing their ethereal nature, becoming creatures of living starlight that could touch and be touched. Even more disturbing were the reports of what happened to species that initially resisted human contact. The Korthak Empire had sent their entire war fleet to stop a human vessel from entering their territory. Instead of a battle, the fleet had simply stopped. The Korthak warriors found themselves unable to fire their weapons, not because they were disabled, but because the very concept of harming others had become impossible to contemplate in the presence of awakened humans. "They didn't conquer the Korthaks," reported Ambassador Vithnal, her gas form shimmering with confusion. "They helped them remember that they had originally been a species of protectors, not conquerors." Now the entire Korthak fleet serves as guardians of vulnerable worlds, and their warriors have never been happier. General Thexvar slammed a crystalline fist against the council table, creating a shower of sparks. This is worse than conquest. At least with conquerors, you know where you stand. But this is fundamental change to what we are. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's lights began to shift, taking on the warm, golden hue of a sunrise that had never touched any world. The air itself seemed to thicken with presence, and every being in the room felt suddenly, inexplicably safe. "May we come in?" The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, spoken in perfect harmony by what sounded like thousands of human voices together. The chamber's blast doors, designed to withstand the explosion of stars, simply weren't there anymore. In their place stood a gateway made of crystallized starlight. 3 humans walked through, or perhaps floated, as their feet never quite touched the ground. They appeared young, but their eyes held the depth of cosmic ages. One was the woman from the first transmission, still smiling her gentle smile. Another was Marcus, the engineer who had spoken to Dr. Sithara. The third was an elderly human with kind eyes and hands that seemed to cup galaxies. "We thought it was time for a proper introduction," said the woman, her voice carrying harmonics that made the chamber's quantum stabilizers hum with pleasure. "My name is Sarah Chen, and I used to be a teacher from Earth. This is Marcus Webb, engineer and dreamer. And this is Dr. Elias Whitmore, philosopher and gardener of stars." The elderly human stepped forward, his presence filling the chamber with the scent of flowers that had never grown on any world. "We know you're afraid," he said gently. "Change is always frightening, especially change this fundamental. But we're not here to force anything on anyone." High Counselor Marendai found her voice first. What do you want from us?" Sarah's smile widened, revealing depths that seemed to contain the birth of stars. "We want to show you something wonderful. Something that's been waiting for all of us since the universe began." With a gesture, the chamber walls became transparent, revealing not the cold vacuum of space, but something far more extraordinary. The galaxy itself was visible as a living entity, its spiral arms breathing slowly, its stars pulsing in rhythm with a cosmic heartbeat. And at its center, something vast and ancient was beginning to stir. "Creation is waking up," Marcus explained, his voice filled with wonder. "For billions of years it's been dreaming, and we've all been part of that dream. Humans, Valdorians, Keltharians, everyone. But now the dream is becoming lucid, aware, ready to participate consciously in its own existence." Dr. Whitmore gestured, and suddenly every being in the chamber could see the truth, could perceive the universe as humans did. Not as a collection of matter and energy governed by indifferent laws, but as a vast, creative intelligence that loved beauty and connection and growth. The boundaries around human space weren't just protection, he explained. They were incubation chambers. We needed time to grow into our role as interpreters between creation and its children. We had to learn how to help the universe understand what each species needed to become their most beautiful selves. Zethkri felt tears streaming down her scales as she suddenly understood. "You're not conquerors or gods. You're translators." "Exactly," Sarah said, her eyes bright with joy. "Every species has their own vision of perfection, their own way of contributing to cosmic beauty. The crystalline hierarchists create order and precision. The chaos swimmers add unpredictability and excitement. The hive minds provide unity, while individual species contribute diversity." Marcus nodded enthusiastically. "Creation loves all of it. Every form of life, every way of thinking, every dream and aspiration. But it needed help understanding how to nurture each species toward their highest potential without destroying what made them unique." The elderly philosopher's expression grew serious. The awakening is accelerating beyond our ability to guide it alone. Creation is becoming too aware, too powerful, too eager to help. Without careful guidance, its enthusiasm could reshape reality faster than most species can adapt. Ambassador Yithnal's gas form swirled nervously. "What are you asking of us?" "Partnership," Sarah said simply. "Help us teach creation about your people's needs, their dreams, their fears. Help us ensure that when the universe becomes fully conscious, it knows how to love each species in the way they need to be loved." The chamber filled with a presence so vast and benevolent that several representatives began weeping from the sheer overwhelming beauty of it. For just a moment, everyone present could feel what the humans felt: the universe's infinite love, its desperate desire to nurture and protect and help all its children flourish. "The choice is yours," Dr. Whitmore said gently. "We can help you prepare for the changes coming, help you discover what your species could become. Or you can maintain your isolation, your current forms and limitations." General Thexvar, his stress fractures healing as cosmic energy flowed through the chamber, asked the question they all feared. "What happens if we refuse?" Marcus looked sad for the first time since his arrival. "Nothing harmful. Creation won't force change on anyone who doesn't want it, but—" He paused, struggling to find words for something beyond language. "Imagine spending eternity in a universe where everyone else is experiencing infinite beauty, infinite possibility, infinite joy, while you remain exactly as you are now." The choice facing the galactic community was unlike anything in recorded history. Not conquest or surrender, but transformation or stagnation. Not death or life, but becoming something unimaginably greater or remaining safely, eternally, themselves. As the human delegation waited patiently for an answer, space outside the chamber continued to change. New wonders bloomed in the void, forests of living light, oceans of crystallized music, cities built from the architecture of dreams themselves. Creation was waking up, and it was asking all its children the same question: "Are you ready to discover what you were always meant to become?" The age of small dreams was ending. The universe itself was learning to hope, and it wanted everyone to hope along with it. Whether that future would be shared by all of galactic civilization or experienced by humans alone while others watched from the sidelines of eternity remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again.